Last episode, a huge player bust-up rocked Wolverhampton Wanderers with Ep4 and Pedro Neto refusing to play in the same team together. But with over £100 million in the bank and the January transfer window around the corner, I've got some big decisions to make over their futures at the club, and that is exactly where we're going to start today. Now, I've been racking my brains thinking about how I'm going to solve this situation and thinking that I'm going to have to sell at least one of them to make peace back in the squad, but with me unsure what to do, I put the question to you. Should I look to sell the 23-year-old Ryan Ep4? Should I look to sell the 24-year-old Portuguese Pedro Neto? Should I elect to sell the pair of them both together? Or should I look to try and restore peace back into the squad, diffuse the situation and hopefully bring them both back together? And you voted in your droves for me to keep the pair of them at the club, diffuse the situation as you want to continue to see them as Wolverhampton Wanderers players. If I am going to do so though, I think it's going to take quite a considerable amount of work. And so that is why I've decided to meet up with the pair of them individually to try and thrash out their differences. I've tried to convince them both of the Wolves project that I'm trying to build here, and I've showed them videos of the good times that they used to spend together and showed them what they could achieve together again. And whilst it seemed like it was me that was doing most of the talking, they seemed to walk away happy and on board. But apparently, hearing from some sources close by, I'm not exactly convinced. Hello, Mr. Adrian. Thank you for taking the time and trying to sort the whole mess a certain player has started. Nori came to us and stated that he apologises for the recent poor performances, but he hopes you can understand the reasons why. I also overheard him talking to his agent about how great La Liga is and how dull the weather in England is, and it's really not helping his mental health after all that's happened. On the other hand, Pedro Neto's been bragging to other teammates about how he's the future of the squad with his potential. He will be the best winger Wolves has ever seen, and you won't sell him because you're too scared to lose him, as in your words, he's not replaceable. Plus, you don't have the guts to. We at Wolves just wanted to make you aware of what's been happening. And to be honest, I'm kind of lost for words at the situation right now. I thought I'd managed to diffuse the situation. I thought I had them both on side, but if sources close to me are correct, perhaps I've completely and utterly misunderstood the situation. Now, with me experimenting in the last episode, removing them from the starting 11 and replacing them with the likes of Bueno and, of course, Hwang Hee-chan, I wanted to test the waters just to see how valuable these two were for my starting 11. And whilst we had some success in certain games, taking one of them out at a time, winning both of the games we tried to do that, when I took the pair of them out of the team altogether, we really suffered the consequences, getting beaten comprehensively by Newcastle, and the whole team looked completely out of its depth. And that's why I'm assuming that you guys watching at home have made the decision to want to keep the pair of them at the club, because I'm assuming you recognise even more so than I do that getting rid of the pair of them could have catastrophic impacts on the rest of our season. And with a season that's seen us performing brilliantly in the Europa League, topping the group with 4 games and 4 wins, as well as climbing up to 6th place in the Premier League table, just 1 point off the final Champions League spot, I'm sure now is not a time that I can afford to lose 2 of my potentially best players. Who knows, it may well be a considerable problem in the future, but with squad morale at a contentful place at the moment, I'm going to heed your advice. I'm going to keep them together at the club, and hopefully it doesn't have disastrous consequences for the rest of our season. Speaking of disastrous consequences, with Jose Sarr under the microscope pretty much across this entire career mode, making some serious howlers, his status at the club has come into question several times across the course of Season 1 and Season 2. We've had numerous suggestions from so many of you of all the different potential options who could come in to replace him, and judging from one of my top scouts, it seems like we're about to have another. Hi Mr. Adrian, it's the Norwegian scout back at it again. I'm incredibly sorry that I've been slow with requesting players. You see, I've been on holiday in the Portuguese capital, and over there I thought it would be a fun idea to watch a Benfica game, so I took my wife and kids to the match, and was incredibly impressed by the 22-year-old Anatoly Trubin, a Ukrainian goalkeeper with incredible reflexes, and considering the poor performances of Jose Sarr, I think this should be a player to look out for. Greetings from your Norwegian scout. Well, first and foremost, I know I've been working my scouts very hard with very little reward, so much so that one of my top scouts has had to take a part-time job just to pay the bills. So it's quite nice to see that one of my other scouts can take a holiday and take a nice, well-deserved break. But as with all scouts, you can take the man away from football, but you cannot take the football away from the man, and that is why a true scout never switches off. But looking at the overall stats and stature of Anatoly Trubin, it is not hard to see why you were so impressed. Yes, he's only 81 rated, but he's 23 years of age, 6'6", and he has the best years of his career ahead of him. He's already got a higher rating than Jose Sarr, despite being 8 years his junior, and I'm sure no doubt he would be an upgrade in between the sticks. But after meeting with Diogo Costa's agent last episode, and then having a nice little lunch with the Portuguese star, where he told me that if Wolverhampton Wanderers managed to qualify for the Champions League, he would be interested in joining the Wolves Revolution. I almost feel like I've got my eyes locked on the 86 rated 25-year-old Portuguese. He would be an absolute statement signing, and not only would come in and be the best goalkeeper, he would come in and be the best player at the entire club altogether. And with the squad looking in decent shape, and us obviously performing very, very well in the Premier League, is qualifying for the Champions League something we realistically think we can achieve this season? And if we can, should I hold fire and wait to try and replace Jose Sarr so that I can attempt to make the mega signing of Diogo Costa? Or do you think I'm going to need an upgrade on Jose Sarr right now in order to try and lift us to the promised land? Let me know down below what you think. Should I consider signing one of these other suggestions to play in between the sticks for me, or should I hold out, wait and see if we can qualify for the Champions League first, and then splash as much cash as possible to bring in the main man, Diogo Costa? Let me know down below what you think. For me though, with £108 million still left in the bank, despite the question marks hanging over my goalkeeper, there's still one key area of the team that I think we can certainly improve. Now, Mario Lemina is a man whom so many of you have recommended that I replace, despite him being the club captain and despite him putting in some fairly decent performances across the course of the first season and a half. But with those performances starting now to slip in the Premier League, and with the 31-year-old only having 7 months left on his contract, realistically, I am most certainly going to need a very long-term replacement for him. However, with the likes of Bellegarde being average at best and the likes of Boubacar Traoré not really developing at the rapid rate I was hoping for, even if I do bring in a long-term replacement for this man Mario Lemina, I still think he has something to offer the club. And so that is why, with just a draw needed to secure top spot in the Europa League, I'm going to give the 31-year-old one more game, one more shot in Europe to try and prove that he is worthy of continuing to play here at Wolverhampton Wanderers and worthy of a contract extension. We're away from home, it's against Braga, but we've got a great opportunity to seal our spot in the next round of the Europa League. Aït-Nouri and Pedro Neto have agreed to put their differences aside to take their places back in the starting 11 together. As you can see from the rest of the team, Jose Sarr starts, Hickey, Bueno, Marmol and Aït-Nouri at the back. Lemina's partnered by Gomez with Neto and Gonçalves, and Dalinga partners Larson up front, with Salazar being chased down by Gomez here as we kick off the very beginning of the first game, and Aït-Nouri with 2 crunching challenges showing exactly why it's the right decision to keep him at the club for as long as we possibly can. But just as I say that, Gonçalves goes and gives the ball away really cheaply there. Carvalho now to bring it out into the centre of the park, gives it to Bruma unmarked. Where on earth is Lemina and Gomez? Nowhere to be seen at the moment. Aït-Nouri though has got to try and put a challenge in, doesn't. Diallo right on the edge of the box. Marmol tries to come across to challenge him. Salazar into Andre. Oh my goodness, it's a good save from Jose Sarr. Clearly hearing about the critics early on in this episode, puts in a very good save to calm the nerves here in the opening 10 minutes. Pedro Neto now to burst forward into the centre he goes. He's looking for the overlapping run of Aaron Hickey. He finds the overlapping run of the right back, who manages to drift his way past the challenge of one of the defenders and tries to throw a ball into the box to absolutely no one. Where on earth were my 2 strikers? But Lemina won that well and gives it to Aït-Nouri, who tries to burst into the box here, bursts past 2 players, throws it back in, this time looks for the man, his arch enemy Pedro Neto, who does absolutely nothing with it, and in the end Braga clear their lines. Pedro Gonçalves twisting, turning, weaving away from a challenge, does a really good job of doing so, and he drives all the way in himself, finds a lovely ball into Strand Larsen, takes it on with his left, straight at the goalkeeper. Masrati with a short pass into Jallo. He plays it into Victor Carvalho, but Gomez with a really good challenge, just goes through the back but wins the ball back. Pedro Neto though runs into a bit of problems, and now Braga can escape with the ball into my half. Andre plays it back into the path of Carvalho once again, into Bruma. Bruma, lovely ball into Salazar. Salazar across into Diallo. He strikes, good save from the goalkeeper again. And is that man Diallo to take the corner here, and he's going to throw this one into the box. Looks for the head of Salazar. It's Aaron Hickey who heads it away. So far, nothing can separate these 2 teams. It's back out to Diallo right on the right-hand side. Gomez with the challenge, another corner. Same story once again, no short option. It's going to be thrown into the box, and it is thrown into the box. This time looking for Jose Font, but Jose Sarr punching it away, looked a little bit desperate there, flapped at it, didn't get it away too far. Salazar weaving around, plays it out to Diallo once again. Aït-Nouri tries to do enough to hold him up. He does do enough to hold him up, but not enough in the end to Salazar. Oh my goodness, that is a complete and utter waste of an opportunity there. Salazar for Braga once again, Victor Carvalho, but Lemina with a crunching challenge, showing that experience to be in the right place at the right time as Dalinga brings it forward, but the referee blows for half time. Carvalho out to Marin on the left hand side, plays it it back into Salazar, who's been heavily involved. Out to Brummer on the left-hand side. Bueno comes across, doesn't come across well enough. Marmol, though, is in the right place at the right time to block it off, as does Jose Sarr. But oh my goodness, has the referee gone and done something that I was not expecting? It looks like Marmol may have committed a foul, and we may have a penalty here once again. Marmol comes across, he's got his hands behind his back. I mean, it looked like the player just totally fell over after he kicked the ball. Referee, what on earth is going on? But another pivotal game and another penalty that Wolves have given away. And now Braga have the opportunity to put themselves in the lead. They do take it, but in the end, Jose Sarr has made the save and perhaps showing that he still has life in his 31-year-old legs to continue as the Wolverhampton Wanderers' #1 goalkeeper. Diallo, though, for Braga as they look to strike back. They've got the bit between our teeth, frustrated that they were not able to put that penalty away. Marmol blocked off again. It's going to be a corner this time, though. But an hour on the clock, and I'm going to make a couple of changes with us being under the cosh. I'm making a couple of attacking changes. Hwang comes on for the anonymous Pedro Neto, as does Nketiah up front. They throw it in the box, though. It's thrown in well, and in the end, it's all too easy. And Font for Braga puts them in the lead, and it's so poor defensively. Well, did I commit the cardinal sin of making a substitution whilst defending a corner? Clearly I did, and clearly it has had such a huge impact, not the one that I was hoping for. Looped into the penalty area, and Jose Font, it actually looked like he got up ahead of Hwang, so it really did seem those substitutions had the worst possible effect. Braga lead 1-0. Aaron Hickey nowhere to go, has to go outside to the right-hand side. Hwang, lovely little touch and turn away from the defender, and now the right footer bursts down this right-hand side, looks to try and fling it in, does fling it in the end it's too deep. Delinga can't get there. Nori will get on the scraps, though, as Yao Gomez picks it up, tries to go back out to Hwang, but it's intercepted, and Braga are playing us off the park at the moment. We cannot seem to open up their defence. Brummer on the counter-attack, back into the left-back Marin, and Brummer has it back once again. Bueno tries to come across, doesn't manage to come across well enough. Marmol, though, challenges Salazar, and this time doesn't give a penalty away. Hwang Hee-chan out to Marmol, down the right-hand side, plays it into Nketiah, takes it on, waiting, hoping for an overlapping run, finds a run of Delinga. Delinga takes it on with his right, straight at the goalkeeper. Hwang can't get onto the loose ball. So Rooney Bargi on as a substitute for Pedro Gonçalves, who, just like Pedro Neto, was pretty poor over the course of this game, as Delinga picks it up, looking for an option, finds an option of Semedo, also on as a substitute, flings it into the box. This time, I was looking for one of my attackers, couldn't quite find it in the end, though, and Carvalho clears it. But are we getting closer? Rooney Bargi wins it back in a really good position, and Rooney Bargi has options, found one in Nketiah. The two substitutes combine, and the former Arsenal man Nketiah, deep right into the end of the game with 2 minutes remaining, gets the equaliser, and is that the goal that is going to send us through to the knockout rounds of the Europa League? The fresh legs have proved pivotal. Rooney Bargi won the ball back, and that is a lovely ball into Nketiah, who just managed to find a lovely little pocket of space inside the penalty area. It was a brilliant finish and a fabulous goal to get us back on level terms, 1-1. But Braga have got a free kick here in a dangerous spot. They floated into the box, headed away though by who else? Mario Lemina, the captain, in the right place at the right time, once again showing that experience that's proved pivotal as the referee calls time on what was an end-to-end game here away from home. We started off a bit sloppy, but we made it count right at the end. As at full time, the game finishes 1-1, and Wolverhampton Wanderers will be progressing to the Europa League knockout stages. He may not be at the required level to take us to the next stage in our development, but his experience was so important, and I think he did do enough to demand a new contract. And so that is why, after a spot of tea, meeting up with both he and his agent, I'm happy to announce that Mario Lemina is happy to accept a 1-year contract extension, which means he will continue as captain of Wolverhampton Wanderers and continue helping us along the way as we try and turn this team into a European giant. However, with me deciding to put Boubacar Traore on the transfer list, with him just not cutting the mustard, and with Brighton expressing an interest in signing him for £5.6 million, we'll begin the start of the January transfer window with one central midfielder down. Have no fear though, because with his departure meaning I've now got £112 million left to play with. Once again, it's time to get down to business. Now, there are numerous options here that I could potentially want to go with, one of which is Florentino Luis, heavily recommended, 25 years of age, Portuguese, and fits into the typical type of signing Wolves would want to make. Martin Zubimendi was absolutely sensational sensational in the final of Euro 2024 and an 83 rated, would certainly come in and be my best central midfielder. Mykola Shaparenko is another up-and-comer over in Ukraine, offers versatility right in the centre of the pitch, and with the 32-year-old Luis Alberto being on the fringes at Barcelona but being 84 rated, he too could come in and offer us some fantastic experience in the centre of the park. But for me, there was the signing of one man that just could not be denied. A man who's been so heavily recommended, a man that one of my top scouts demanded that I bring home, a man who absolutely lit up the Premier League for Wolves just for one season a couple of years ago, got his move to Manchester City and hasn't really had the opportunity to impress. Well, finally, the prodigal son is about to return home to Wolverhampton Wanderers, because that is right, we're adding to the Portuguese revolution here at Wolverhampton Wanderers. Matheus Nunes will be returning to Wolves for a fee of £36 million. And once again, it is another fabulous signing. A central midfielder who can also play out wide on the left-hand side. 26 years of age, his best year ahead of him. 82 rated, comes in as the best centre midfielder at the club. And of course, with him being Portuguese, he will fit into the Wolverhampton Wanderers system like an absolute glove. Look at those stats right across the board. He's press proven and Premier League proven as well. And with him coming straight into the starting 11 to make his debut at the Molineux, what an incredible time for him to make a first impression back in a Wolverhampton Wanderers shirt at home against a team that we will be favourites to beat in Nottingham Forest. The Wolves fans will fly the flag high as Matheus Nunes has the chance to show what we've been missing for so many years. As moving Nunes into the starting 11 is one of several changes that I've made. As you can see, Sarr keeps his place in goal, but Semedo starts at right back, Bueno, Marmo, Aït-Nouri at the back, Nunes and Gomez partner each other in midfield, Hwang comes in on the right hand side in place of Pedro Neto, who drops to the bench, Gonçalves, Dalinga and Larson partner each other up front. Petkovic straight away to bring this one forward for Nottingham Forest, unopposed, gives it to Aguilera, who tries to wriggle his way past the challenge of one of my defenders, Nelson Semedo, though, with a good interception, and now Hwang can bring the ball away into Jorgen Strand Larsen, tries to play it forward, gets a little bit lucky there with a touch, and it falls to Hwang, and now the Korean can burst into the box. He's got a man on here if he can find him. He does find Dalinga, and just like that, inside the opening 12 minutes, Wolverhampton Wanderers with the lift of Matheus Nunes coming back into the team. We get ourselves 1-0 up here. The Molineux is rocking, the players are rocking, and it is not hard to see why. We've got the bit between our teeth, and that is a fabulous start. The perfect way back at home to give the fans exactly what they crave for, an early lead. 1-0. Dalinga chasing down Bowley as Toffolo also being chased down by Hwang, just about manages to wriggle away from it, but this is the sort of pressing and tenacity I want to see. Toffolo with the throw. Plays it short to Rahimi. Oh, Semedo almost got there, but then he's left a little bit of a gap on the right-hand side that Bueno cannot fill. But this time, Mika Marmol does come across really well, doesn't give a penalty away in the process, and gives the ball back to that man, Semedo. Hwang has it though, plays it into Jorgen Strand Larsen, and Strand Larsen can feed in Dalinga, the goal scorer, bursting forward, takes it on from distance. Oh my word, full of confidence, an audacious strike. That would have been absolutely sensational if it had come off. Alanga though for Nottingham Forest tries to burst down the left hand side. Aït-Nouri tries to come across the cover, doesn't do a good enough job of winning it back. Alanga still has it, but Pedro Gonçalves almost got the ball back, didn't manage to though. Still in the box they go. Oh my word, it's blocked off by Bueno, and in the end it's Dominguez it falls to, right on the edge of the box, and within a blink of an eye Nottingham Forest are back on level terms. Well, they've taken all the momentum that we built in the early part of the game and they flipped the script and turned it on its head. Poor defending once again. Jose Sarr in no man's land, and Dominguez completely unmarked. Wonderful volley. Goalkeeper, to his credit, had absolutely no chance whatsoever. Lovely finish. 1-1. There's Rayan Aït-Nouri to bring it forward into Dalinga in the centre of the park. Skips away from one challenge. Tries to skip away from a second. Does skip away from a second and lines it up just high and wide. Dominguez for Nottingham Forest, and Guerre tries to bring it forward, does bring it forward, but Gomez intercepts it really well. It's a really good job. So far, we haven't really heard much from Matheus Nunes. He's been pretty anonymous in this game, hasn't really found his feet. Perhaps he's going to need a little bit more time as he tries to press high and win the ball back, just as I say that, but doesn't manage to do so. But as we begin the second half here, I am going to be looking for more inspiration from the Portuguese, as after an electric start, we were pegged back late on in the second, and now Nottingham Forest seem to have the momentum as we start the next 45 minutes. And Alanga is the the man to burst down the right-hand side. It tries to go one-on-one with Aït-Nouri. In the end, lacking a little bit of confidence, goes backwards, keeps hold of the ball though, plays it into Aguilera, who manages to get past Gomez, throws it into the box. Semeido's in the right place at the right time, but it falls to Zanguer, who takes it down beautifully, and now Aguilera once again has it. Marmo, oh my goodness, calm, composed. Look at the footwork to get away from the striker. He got away with one there. Into Nunez though. Finally, Mika Marmo out to Aït-Nouri, and now we've got a little bit of space to try and accelerate down this left-hand side. I'm going to look for Gonçalves, and I find him. Pedro Gonçalves bursts into the box, cuts back, lovely footwork, tries to get on his right, does get on his right, curves it round. Good save from the goalkeeper. Hwang picks up the scraps though, plays it into Nelson Semedo, goes central into that man Gomez. Where is Nunez? Finds Gonçalves. Gonçalves onto his left, goes wide, can't put the ball in the back of the net. In the end, it's blocked off by the Nottingham Forest players, but Pedro Gonçalves wins it back again. Gomez into Nunez. Nunez though is blocked off, and it's been a pretty quiet and poor debut so far. Dalinga wins it back though, into Gomez. Gomez into Nunez. Nunez takes it on, right on the edge of the box, lines up the strike, drags it wide. Ryan Aït-Nouri back out to Nunez in the centre, who's starting after me questioning his performance, has managed to try and get himself involved a little bit more as Aït-Nouri now bursts down the left-hand side, plays it across to the back post, just over the head of Hwang, who was ghosting onto the end of it. Pedro Gonçalves back out to Aït-Nouri, throws it back across, this time looking for Strand Larsen, who takes it down, it falls to Hwang. Oh my goodness, Dalinga gets onto it, the goalkeeper saves it. Oh my goodness, how did we not find the back of the net? Somehow Nottingham Forest have kept on to this 1-1 result. Pedro Gonçalves into Master Nunez, he's got options, he finds an option in Dalinga. Dalinga into Jorgen Strand Larsen. Oh, I was looking for Nunez, I almost managed to find him, just blocked off. We're starting to turn the screw though, and it's Dalinga once again who's got it in the centre, gives it to that man Matches Nunez, who takes it onto the edge of the box, tries to take on the strike. He's desperately searching for that goal as Pedro Gonçalves into the edge of the box, looking for the cutback, finds it into Dalinga, he's blocked, and eventually it falls to the goalkeeper. How have we not scored? Well, in the end, I look despondent because I cannot quite believe we have not managed to find the back of the net in the last 10 to 15 minutes of this game. Dalinga got the early goal, but we couldn't continue that momentum. We were pegged back. As a full-time era finishes, Wolves 1, Nottingham Forest 1. Well, it was a tough old game on the Molineux, it must be said. And it was a difficult afternoon in his first game back in a Wolverhampton Wanderers shirt for this man, Matches Nunez. He was quiet in the opening 60 minutes, it must be said, but when he did come alive, he started to really make that midfield tick, and that is when we really started to create some chances. Dalinga will be happy with his first goal, but frustrated he couldn't get a second. Jorgen Strand Larsen will be looking to the skies, thinking how on earth did he not manage to bag the winner? And with us now falling down to 7th place in the Premier League table, but with us still just having 1 point separating us and Arsenal in the final spot in the Champions League, the fight for Champions League football next season is getting just so close. It just goes to show that we cannot let games like that slip away from us. And with us still having a long way to go before the end of the January transfer window, and with us still having £73 million left in the bank, do I need to consider going back to your shortlist to try and bring in one more player this window to potentially get us over the line? Let me know down below what you think, because as for today, that is going to be that for the end of the episode. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Thank you everyone for watching, and hopefully I'll see you again next time.